Alrighty, so here's a story about how a bunch of fucking, convicts, led by, fucking former, Irish revolutionary kind of, fighters and whatnot, attempted to, shit you not, wanted to capture ships to sail to Ireland. That's what these folks set out to achieve. Anyway, here's a fucking Castle Hill video. Fucking like, subscribe, and all that other bullshit. So yeah, most of the fucking convicts um, that were a part of this, rebellion, they're actually, like veterans or ringleaders and things like that within the Irish rebellion of 1970, 1998 or something like that. And anyway, it was not 97, I think it was. Yeah, because the year later, they all got fucking, transported out to fucking Australia, the New South Wales colony, and what a bright idea that was. And so yeah, because of this, the fact that there's so many of them, there was always a couple of plans lingering around that kind of were the same thing as what they ended up trying to put into practice. And it's not you kind of think it would have fallen apart because of funny reasons, but it actually doesn't. It just kind of fizzles out in a way. But yeah. Anyway, there was always at least one plan to basically, before the Castle Hill one took place, was basically take Parramatta, and then before the daylight actually arrives, the fucking barracks at Sydney fucking get them dealt with, and after that, fucking kick back, relax, live on settler farms until they heard back from the French, where the French, were they wanted to sail there first and then jump from there to Ireland. It was kind of their whole line of thinking, and yeah. Yeah, literally, that was the plan a good couple of times. It's like, let's go fucking take Parramatta, take Sydney, and then wait for the French. So early in 1804, fucking, there's a bloke called Robert Emmets in Dublin. He attempted a rising and it failed, and fucking, well, that was actually the year before. Actually, it was 1803, I think it was. But yeah, around fucking 700 odd fucking convicts were sort of gathered all together, and around from the fucking the Hawkesbury sort of region, places like Windsor and shit like that, all along that river. And yeah, they fucking they planned the same thing, fucking rally at the fucking Constitution Hill in Parramatta, and yeah, march on the rest of fucking Parramatta, and the port of Sydney itself, fucking take that shit. Um, And yeah, they wanted to establish Irish rule in the colony and nab some ships to fucking sail for France and then Ireland to help fucking restart Emmett's failed uprising. Yeah. Um, so one evening in the 4th of March, John Kavanagh decided to, fucking set the fire to his fucking hut in Castle Hill. And the fire wasn't seen by fucking folks in the Hawkesbury region or whatnot, but fucking Cunningham, that fucking Philip, the one that's kind of behind all of this attempt, he did see it from where he was, and fucking again activated the plan to fucking grab a bunch of fucking guns and ammo, and anything else worth it, and then recruits from all the locals along the way, and go for the government farm at Castle Hill. Yeah, fucking after they got to Castle Hill, they just continued farm for farm, fucking raiding shit on the way, heading towards fucking Parramatta, and again grabbing any fucking grog or fucking weapons and shit that they could find along the way. And yeah, they actually did pick up recruits from the locals as they passed through. Um, they had kind of had all of this inspired by a previous escape attempt from Castle Hill, where basically all 12 of the fucking convicts that had escaped, they went around and they were hitting up their mates and fucking any kind of sympathizers they'd have in the surrounding areas and shit. And yeah, when they were captured, they all had the same story, and you can't make this up. Fucking, we were going to we were heading to China by crossing the Blue Mountains. The fucking Irish, man. Like, heading into China to cross the blue, by crossing the Blue Mountains. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, so the initial sort of response to this was like fucking. There's like officials like those kind of hoity-toity blokes. One named Samuel Marsden actually fled on boat down the river, fucking escorting a chick named Elizabeth MacArthur and her children because there was an informer had advised that there was going to be a fucking raid on that farm and shit. So like that the whole idea of that was to draw troops away from the Parramatta fucking assault. And yeah, so the governor fucking getting messages about all the crazy shit going on. Fucking the governor set off alone for Parramatta to sort of assume command of everything, and his lieutenant governor basically did the whole fire and everyone up like fucking like wakey wakey hands off snakey. So folks from the fucking HMS Calcutta, I think it's pronounced, and the fucking Sydney Loyal Association militia, like basically a bunch of citizens willing to fucking genuinely sort of like fight for ground. They all took up, and they do it regularly, like volunteers almost, but like not in the sense of like just heat of the moment. Like they're an organized group of volunteers. So yeah, they fucking took over guard duties and New South Wales Corps contingent of 56 blokes. And if you're recognizing some dates here from the Rum Rebellion video, yes, there is one name that is going to ironically appear in this one before his participation in the Rum Rebellion. So yeah, they were sent to march through the night to bolster that fucking garrison at Parramatta, and I'll get to that the Parramatta one there in a sec. Fucking so the provost marshal, fucking Thomas Smith, like it's one of those weird ones. It's like wrote Smythe, but it's fucking Smith. But anyway, was sent to contact Major George Johnson. There he is at Annandale while the troops at fucking Sydney arrived, and after a quick little fucking inspection and whatnot, the advance guard that arrived there first were immediately sent to like the west, to fucking the west of the town, just to fucking because that's where they were figuring it was all going to come from. And yeah, so fucking Johnston arrived at the government house in Parramatta there, and about 4 hours later, 5 hours later, something like that, and it was actually not long after fucking the governor had actually declared martial law for the pretty large area. And again, pretty much, yeah, like the martial law declaration that bloody extended from like Castle Hill to like Hawkesbury and Nepean and shit like that, let citizens, in the area like detain someone that wasn't fucking, it didn't have the right bit of paper and whatnot. And yeah, fucking the other thing as well, it's like fucking like there's like curfews and shit in place. And there was an amnesty. So there was like a 24-hour period where you could fucking surrender and no charges, but you're free to go. But yeah, fucking once Johnson actually got to fucking Parramatta, the governor like delivered his orders like in person, verbally. He was just like, "Oi, this is what you're gonna fucking do," and then in writing as well. Like he got by, it's like you're definitely fucking doing this. There's no misinterpretation of anything. And anyway, fucking, he was to head for the west gate of the fucking park around Government House. That fucking, and yeah, fucking like see if that's where they were hanging about, getting ready to do their shit. And if they weren't there, he was ordered to head towards Toongabbie and fucking Castle Hill to locate them and to wait further orders and all that fucking bullshit. He was allowed to shoot people that weren't following his orders because of that martial law declaration anyway. But yeah, fucking. So yeah, Johnson sets out to locate the fucking main rebel force, and yeah, he brought like a bunch of like civilian volunteers as well, and fucking another fucking sort of one of those organized militia groups, fucking the Parramatta Loyal Association Rifles, decided to fucking about like 30 odd of them fucking jumped in, and yeah, and they took over the fucking defense of the town while fucking Johnson was going and fucking we can't, where are you? Yeah, so like about fucking 50 odd blokes as well like, enrolled in like the fucking like reserve fucking militia that fucking ended up combining with that New South Wales called detachment, and fucking yeah, marched out to fucking go find these cunts. Um, and so because he had all these extra blokes that he wasn't expecting, Johnson's decided to fucking march it out in two columns. Fucking, he would lead one of them, and that would head fucking the Toongabbie way. And fucking another bloke named fucking Davies, he basically got given the other fucking column, and they would march down the actual Castle Hill Road. Yeah, so the rebels at Toongabbie, while all this is going on, they were having a typically Irish problem of organisation. They're trying to like coordinate their fucking party between like all kinds of different little pockets of like fucking folks, and again, like signals weren't being intercepted, fucking letters weren't getting out and shit like that. They were having a real fucking drama of it. So fucking, and as well, they had like 70 odd blokes under a fucking dude named Humes fucking just like lose their way in the night. Like they got fucking lost. No joke, they got fucking lost. This is why you don't fucking stock up on the fucking rum, right? Like it sounds funny, but it's just like nah, fucking that was a big mistake of theirs. I think it's kind of obvious how they got lost in the night. But yeah, fucking like Cunningham and fucking Johnson, like they began like grabbing out the power drills and drilling them in, and yeah, while they unsuccessfully did try and fucking get into Parramatta, and where they were supposed to like set fire to a fucking building and like signal to other conspirators to start converging on the actual like Constitution Hill. Get in, light it up, let everyone know, let's fucking do this. And yeah, no, they failed. They actually tried a couple times and failed. But yeah, fucking being involved in like a couple of rebellions at this point, all of which failed. Fucking like Cunningham, as well as the mutiny on the end that I briefly fucking mentioned in the Rum Rebellion video actually. But anyway, yeah, fucking he knew that the most important fucking element of like doing this whole fucking uprising bullshit would be secrecy, like keeping shit close to you. And well, yeah, there were two defections: an Irish convict overseer. Um, it's exactly what it sounds like. Convict that fucking yeah. His name was Sloan. What an un-Irish name that is. Sloan. That just sounds shifty, right? Like a bloke named Sloan, like he go and stab you in the back. And a fucking another dude named Lewis Bulger. Again, another sus name. Like it's just suspicious. So the commandant at fucking like Parramatta, like Captain Edward Abbott, he'd had warning of this fucking rebellion for a little bit. Like he was the one that actually like messaged the governor in the fucking first place, but like, oi, bro, like this, get your ass here, like shit's going down. But anyway, their courier, fucking John Griffin, like he didn't like betray them. He just sort of like had second thoughts and whatnot. And in the process of him hesitating, he got arrested. And so the call out messages for like Windsor, Parramatta, and fucking Sydney like actually like failed to get to their destination. And yeah, so the uprising was pretty much confined to just like the western parts of like the Parramatta area. Like, but yeah, after like fucking pointlessly sort of sitting there waiting for like the actual fucking signal for a successful takeover of like Parramatta, and with the lack of fucking reinforcements showing up, Cunningham he had to sort of like tuck his tail between his legs and go from fucking that west part of Parramatta all the way up to Toongabbie and just sort of reassess how to fucking deal with all this. And yeah, that's where I'm going to pause this one because save all the fucking saucy shooting for later. And yeah, again, like, subscribe, and all that other bullshit. Cheers. No, no. Am I losing my mind, or did I run into a lawnmower?